They're dinosaurs, okay? They're animals from 65 million years ago that only knew how to eat and party. I don't know what else to say. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome to another Super Series Tuesday. For today, we'll be covering the second movie in the Jurassic Park film franchise, and that is The Lost World. So The Lost World was released in 1997 and is once again directed by Steven Spielberg, and this time stars Jeff Goldblum, Julianne Moore, and Vince Vaughn. And the story around this time is a little bit different, because they actually don't return to the park, and that is why it is called The Lost World Jurassic Park, because in this one you find out that there has been a second island this whole time. In this, John Hammond is actually in the process of losing his company, so he sends Jeff Goldblum's Ian Malcolm along with a small team to the second island to document and record the dinosaurs in their natural habitats in an attempt to show the world that these are animals and we should leave them be, because the flip side is that the people that are trying to take over his company are trying to act as poachers and go there and take the dinosaurs once again and turn them into attractions. So for the first positive of this movie is an obvious one, of course, at least to me, and that is, like I mentioned in the previous review, Jeff Goldblum, because I love Jeff Goldblum. I don't really know who doesn't love Jeff Goldblum. Next is actually another actor who is probably my second favorite in this film, and that is Vince Vaughn. I love Vince Vaughn too. In this movie is actually one of his more serious roles and less comedic, although he still does have his little bit of comedy here and there. But I actually really enjoy him in this movie. I think he's a great character, and he does a great job in this movie. And despite this movie being lackluster compared to the first movie, there still are actually some pretty intense moments in this movie that had me on the edge of my metaphorical seat. The last positive is something that I emphasized heavily in my first review, and that is that the animatronics in this movie are amazing. They still hold up today. They could still use them in movies today, and they would be just as good as the CGI. And somewhere in the middle ground, I didn't really mind it too much, but some people might find the message is hammered home way too much, but that is the animal cruelty message in this movie. Since the other team that visits this island basically act as animal poachers, you have like the animal rights activists versus the animal poachers. And the animal rights message, I think, is a good message, because I think animal rights are a really good thing, and I feel like that needs to be shown more in movies and needs to be emphasized more in the world overall. But in this movie, I don't feel that it was necessary. I don't feel this is the proper movie to do this. We watch these movies to see dinosaurs eat people, and just to see dinosaurs in general, really. So the fact that we turn this into a whole poaching story, and about animal rights and how they should be let to roam free when we're talking about dinosaurs, for this movie, I really don't feel like it was necessary. Now on to the negatives. Oh boy. To start, you really just don't care. The story, it was just downright boring through a lot of it. It actually took me multiple tries to watch this movie. I kept falling asleep. It took me 3 tries to finish this movie, guys. 3. And like I said, with the no caring, you also don't care about the cast at all. Besides the two that I mentioned, Jeff Goldblum and Vince Vaughn, any of the poaching crew, they didn't pique my interest whatsoever. They're all one-note characters. Most of them don't even have names. They're just kind of faces. There's a bigger crowd in this, and I feel like the whole reason they brought in this whole poaching crew was for the fact to give dinosaurs more people to kill. Just like the first movie, the CGI is pretty well downright horrible. This movie can get as many upscales as it wants. It went from VHS to DVD to Blu-ray to 4K, and the CGI still looks like shit. The animatronics, again, fantastic. The practical effects, fantastic. But anytime it jumps to CGI, it looks like something out of like a PlayStation 1 game. And that's to my next point. There is a lot of cheesy shit in this movie. There's a lot of cheesy dialogue. There's a lot of cheesy things happening. Like just stupid stuff, like characters will fall over and their pants will fall down, or they'll say something really stupid and they'll walk into trees, and there's just so many stupid, cheesy, eye-rolling things that happen in this movie. And again, the infamous returning Sneaky Rex from the first movie. Anytime they want to emphasize it, it's thump, thump, thump. The T-Rex is coming, the water's shaking, everyone's freaking out, and then the next scene, all of a sudden, no one notices the T-Rex is right behind them. Sneaky Rex, why do you exist? In tune with the cheesy stuff, we also have slapstick, which is basically cheesy shit, but that they do physically. There's a lot of slapstick stuff in this. There's a lot of like running back and forth, running here, running there, tripping, falling over things. The dinosaurs are jumping at them and knocking them over and pushing them through windows and chasing them around. It looks like something out of a Charlie Chaplin movie where they're just doing all these stupid, nonsensical stunts. There's literally one scene where Jeff Goldblum's daughter in the movie, she's like a gymnastics girl, and she's like holding on to a bar and she's swinging around and she kicks the velociraptor out of a window. Why? This happens throughout a lot of the movie, but especially towards the finale. Things happen so damn quick without any explanation. It's just like they're jumping from point A to point B. Nothing happens in between, especially in the finale. When they jump from towards the end of the movie to the location of the finale, I literally thought like days, weeks, whatever passed. No, it's all in the same night apparently, despite them having to travel by boat for like thousands of miles. Something that really bothered me, the dinosaurs are very particular. They're very mannerly, actually. You know, there's one scene where there's a tent and the people are sleeping. And instead of the dinosaur being a dinosaur and just kind of stepping on everybody, no, he does this sneaky dino thing. He pokes his head around, sniffs in, sniffs there. No, not like a regular dinosaur would where he would just step on it, bite it. No. These dinosaurs are very nice. They're very polite. They know how to use like door handles and stuff like that. They will use the proper exits. They're dinosaurs, okay? They are animals from 65 million years ago that only knew how to eat. And something that actually should be at the front of this list is that the heroes do not need to be heroes. This is a huge gripe for me because in the first movie, it was a group of just random, normal people thrown into an extraordinary situation and forced to act. In this movie, our heroes just won't butt out. It could have been left to the military guys, to any other sort of authority, to the government. No, our heroes are just gonna continue to butt in because they like dinosaurs. They have no point of being here. They do not need to be in, especially the whole finale of this movie, and it just really bothered me. One of my biggest positives, because I only had like 4, was Vince Vaughn. And this movie, despite Vince Vaughn being a prominent character in the whole rest of the movie, in the finale, he is not in it at all. It is a completely Vince Vaughn-less finale. Why? One of the best parts of the movie, yeah, let's just chop them out for the last half an hour when it's pretty much the most important part of the film. And that brings me to my last gripe. I feel like this movie was made entirely for the purpose of its finale. It felt like Steven Spielberg, or the writer, or whoever's idea it was, had this idea to make their own version of King Kong, but just with dinosaurs. So they said, okay, we want to do that, but how do we get there? So they just kind of threw this movie together and got to this point. And in doing so, it gives the dinosaurs no dynamic. In the beginning, we saw that they are animals, but then they are also monsters, and there's really a fine line there. But in this one, it's not there. So to summarize, guys, this movie has a hell of a lot more negatives than it does positives. The positives are Jeff Goldblum is great, Vince Vaughn is great, the animatronics and the practical effects are fantastic. There were some intense moments, and again, the sound design is great. The middle ground is it has this animal rights activist kind of story, and I mean, it's enjoyable. It is a good positive message, but I don't really think it belongs in this movie. The negatives are the movie's stupid, you don't care about anyone, you don't care about the story, they're just monsters, the sneaky Rex is back, the bad CGI is back, and overall it's just pretty much a dumb movie. It has no heart. They just simply made it for the fact that they wanted the finale to happen. It's a pointless sequel. Steven Spielberg is a fantastic director, but this one was a major misfire. So guys, with all of that being said, one half my body is saying give it a 5, because it's not the worst movie ever despite me just trashing it. But then another side of me says, no, be generous and give it a 6. So I'm just gonna go right up the middle and give this movie a 5.5 out of 10. So guys, if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know, do you think The Lost World Jurassic Park was a worthy sequel? So as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap.